Welcome in, everybody. I'm Joey, and this is the 65 Mini Cooper S. And as you can see, it doesn't have that many health points, only 75. So if we're going to drive an S-Class this week and not get pushed around like a punching bag, then we're going to need to upgrade it a little bit. So I headed on over to the upgrade shop to have a look around. Step one was put a massive engine in this fucking thing. We're putting a V10 in there, because why not? We can. And then I had the option to put a wing on it, which would have given me some downforce, but I said, fuck it for the memes, and put a tire on top of it. And then I actually did something helpful and put some bigger tires on it. And when it was all said and done, here's where we netted out. 9.0 acceleration, 4.4 speed, but I've actually changed out speed for minimum cocaine intake in tons, because that's basically what this thing is going to be running on. But of course, there was one last thing I needed to do, which was paint it a ridiculously annoying color and then apply a racing stripe for more memes. Alright, race number one, Road America, the pure Colombian Bam Bam, has been loaded into the fuel tank, and off we go. No one's keeping up with this thing. The Apollo program is just looking like sitting ducks right now. They went to the moon. This thing, it's going to damn Jupiter. But of course, turn one comes around like it does every race and just about ruins everything. We've been hitting the back. It's not like it's hard to see a lime green Mini Cooper with a racing stripe. Really difficult. It might be small, but listen, there was strategy in the coloring. We've got more guys flying off to the left side in the grass. They missed that corner by about 1,000 feet. And then this Camaro tries to turn right, clearly having some peripheral vision issues. Once again, it's lime green with a racing stripe. Not that hard to see. I understand it's a little small for the normal car, but yeah, and here we go. This couldn't get much worse, right? We're already facing horizontal, but then there's always another Ferrari. You know, just when you think you hit rock bottom, there always seems to be that Ferrari that's completely missed its breaking point and destroys you. So we might be 20th out of 20, but there's plenty of time to make up some spots. It's only lap one, and what do you know, the very next turn we got a bunch of noobs tickling each other's buttholes over here on the right side, and we grab a couple of positions up in the 14th. Some other guy rejoins the track directly onto the racing line. Well, I guess he left us a little room, but it's not all that easy to change directions in a Mini Cooper with over 600 horsepower. This thing is absolutely ridiculous in a straight line. On the corners, as you can see around the carousel, it is not so much. In fact, I would go as far to say that it is as bad through the corners as my mother is on the public streets, which is pretty fitting considering that 14th place behind us is called Your Mom Spits. So clearly, this asshole knows my mother very well, intimately. So I'm going to do everything in my power to keep this guy behind me. We're coming up on a Ford GT. I think that's the 05 model. Getting right by him. On the brakes very early, down into third gear, around the right-hander. Ford GT peeking back up the inside, but we're keeping them behind with that acceleration. Got this long left-hander, but it looks like we're going to hold that GT off through there. One more final corner, and then we can get back onto the straight. The GT trying to go around the outside, and then I'm not left a whole lot of room. And, well, inevitably, I've spun around again. I mean, I'm in a Mini. I would appreciate a little more room than this. I'm taking up the least amount on the track, so come on. And then up the hill, just holding the throttle down. We're not stopping. We're not braking in this thing. Throttle down all the way through the smoke. No regrets. We're going hard. And ultimately make up a few places. So skipping forward a little bit. Still lap 2. Back on that second straight after turn 2. We're catching up to what looks to be a Corvette, one of the newer mid-engine versions. Getting right by him super quickly. It's got to be absolutely ridiculous looking at your screen and seeing a Mini Cooper fly by you when you're in a Ford GT or a fucking Corvette. Especially at the speeds this thing is pulling. I might have to rub my eyes and pinch myself to make sure I'm still awake. But for now, we're going to try to get by this next Ford GT. We're quickly up onto the back of him, able to carry quite a bit of speed through that right-hander, pulling up alongside, braking at that third board on the right, taking it to the left. Ford GT almost swiping across and spin of us. spinning us, but we get through there just fine. Skip it forward. Next victim, Lamborghini. Making the most of the straights to catch back up to our prey here. 7th place, so it'd be a pretty darn good finish, or at least a comeback if we could get in front of this guy. Earthborn Rex. Pretty sick name, so I'm assuming this guy's probably pretty good. Nope, he's gone off the track, and we're going to get right back on by him. Breaking out of that third board again and taking it to the left. We've got that position. Oh, no, he's coming back up the inside, receiving a bit of a tap, and then he's trying to hold us to the inside, keeping us very narrow, nearly pushing us off. So this guy better be careful. He's approaching douchebag territory, and around the carousel, he's going to have the advantage of handling, but once we get onto the straight, which we are now, we're back on the power, up into 5th gear, already pushing 150, back down into 4th for the kink to the right, and then we'll dogleg back to the left, but we won't be braking for that one, so it's full throttle all the way down to the right-hander, and we are right back onto the back of him. I'll do my best to keep up with him through these final corners of the lap, and then on the straight, we'll look to make the easy pass. Just kind of hanging out behind him. He does seem to be going pretty slow through here, not really taking the racing line. He definitely knows there is a Mini with a tire on top right behind him, and I mean, if he's going to go that slow through the final corner, we might as well try to go for a move. And we try to slip up the inside, doesn't quite work out, but once we can straighten out the Mini on the straight, we're absolutely gone, and he's just drifting away slowly farther and farther until he's disappeared into the sunset, and that'll finish the race. As it turns out, this thing is incredibly easy to flip, so there's just another reason to try it out for yourself. If you want to download it, per usual, the tune is on my marketplace storefront, whatever they call it, so go and give it a try if you would like. We're over to Catalunya. Up into 4th place, lickety split, courtesy of the Bam Bam and the fuel tank. Now 2nd place, and on the brakes super early, getting all the braking done before we have to turn in, because trail braking in this thing is a mistake. You start trail braking and the car starts sliding. Next thing you know, you're facing the wrong way, and then a Ferrari comes and hits you. Or any other car behind you for that matter. Slowly getting back on that power as we come up the hill and around the bend, but we're going to skip forward because the guys up in front were able to stay in front. Lap 2 now, and I'm an absolute genius. I've gone off track and got myself a penalty. Only 1/10 of a second, but more importantly, beautiful shit-colored Porsche has overtaken us, and we're going to get a little chippy here in a bit with Somber Loki, or is that Sombre Loki? How do you spell somber? I have no idea. English was not my first language. I originally spoke Chinese. So, shit fuck damn it. That's Chinese for I just got myself another penalty. Racking up a full second now. The Porsche up ahead, the shit stain, has lost control of the back end and decided to take me out, which is always an awesome pleasure. I just really appreciate it, especially when they just don't bat an eye, carry on like nothing happened. I mean, it's a great thing. It's a very friendly, loving, passionate community we have here in the middle of the pack of Forza Motorsport. It didn't take long, though, for him to make another enemy, and this M1 has just spun him out, so we got a little bit of redemption there. I wish I could have been the one to do it, but we'll let that guy take care of it for us, and that was all that happened that race, so we'll move on. Kyalami. Another turn 1 coming up off of a long straight. This should really go swimmingly, shouldn't it? Here we go on the brakes. We've got a BMW flying up the inside, making contact with another BMW, a Porsche coming up, and we're going to slow this down because a lot of things happen here. The BMW spins the GT. The GT hits the Porsche. I go into the Porsche, and then the guy behind me, who is an I don't know what the hell it was, spins me around. So, just to sum everything up for you.
I'm jumping out a window!
And now I'm left at the back of the pack once again to try to fight my way forward. Let's see if I can get back up there. Chances are slim, considering I've just turned the car into a lawnmower like I usually do. I feel like I say that at least 5 times an episode because I just love driving on the grass. So do other people. It's just really a great pastime here in Forza. We're around the long right-hand bend, dropping back just a tiny bit, but quickly back up onto the back of this Holden, I believe, who does not want this Ferrari to rejoin the track. He's going to be held off. I wonder if there was some bad blood from practice, maybe, that led to that situation. Who knows? It's left to mystery. We're going to try to get in front of them and as far in front of them as we possibly can to stay out of that fight. Up the hill and into the left-hander, we got a BMW spinning out, a Ford GT from behind. I'm pushed into a power slide. I do a pretty decent job of keeping the car pointed forward, and downhill we come. Alongside the Ford GT, we're trading paint, and unfortunately, the guy on the outside is going to pay the price for us battling it out over here, going off the track, and I get a second penalty for, I guess, trading paint with the Ford GT. Okay, fine. The Holden got past me momentarily, but the V10 in this lightweight Mini carrying us straight back past him through Cheetah. He's not quite given up on the battle, and we're going to get tapped from behind. I have to brake early. I've got no choice. The brakes in this thing suck, and I've been tapped around, so my struggles with facing forward continue. Are we going to get a penalty for that? No, luckily we don't get a penalty, even though I did cut quite a bit of the track before getting on. Sometimes if you don't immediately rejoin, you do get a penalty. Luckily, we're not on the receiving end of some BS there. Now, I'd like to catch up to this Holden to give him a piece of my mind, but once again, we're going to get some help from our loving community. The Nissan is going to spin him out, so that's a second time we've gotten some help from some other people in the lobby, taking out these dirty fuckers. Once again, I would have liked to do it myself, but I guess we'll save the penalty time. I'll need all I can get. We've already got a second. Lap 2, finishing this one off, starting lap 3, getting ahead of the Corvette on the straight. Approaching the braking zone at Mach 2, basically, braking just before that 150 board. Heavy on the brakes, getting off, letting the car turn in, and then once it straightens out, get back on the power. That's another thing, is on the exits of these corners, you gotta let the Mini straighten out, because if you get on the throttle too early, that thing is gonna go sailing off the track. You really gotta wait for this thing to be pointed in the direction you want to go, and then just full throttle, stamp on the gas, and get moving. We're catching up to another Corvette around the carousel here. He'll pull away as we go around to the right, back onto the straight, throttle down, braking just at that first board, back to the left. Looking forward, my hungry eyes are telling me that we've got a situation brewing up front between a couple of Porsches. Light blue might have been the recipient of a bump and run, so I can't imagine he's too happy, and if I were him, I'd be looking to make a move into this hairpin coming up at the top of the hill. He's going to make his move a little early though, pit maneuver the Porsche, and it would have been a pretty decent move if he hadn't taken himself out as well. So unfortunately, I'll have to deduct some points there. But overall, it was a successful revenge takeout, so we'll give him that, and we'll skip to the last lap, the Supra. Another guy who just apparently has no peripheral vision. We honestly might have to start doing that test at the DMV as I swerved to the right because I thought he might be going for a takeout. This guy is confusing the hell out of me. I couldn't tell if he was taking me out or just stupid, which is all the more reason to start doing that DMV test where they're like, all right, tell us what side you see the light on as you peer into like the gigantic ass binocular looking machine thing. Apparently this geriatric failed the test because again he doesn't see me coming up the left side or tried to take me out. I don't think he did because he just goes by here fine, doesn't try to take me out. Maybe he's blind on the left side, I don't know. Guy just doesn't see me. Now, I'm always trying to keep it clean. I don't want to drive dirty. I don't want to drive to the standards of all the people around me. I want to drive to my standards, keep it clean, keep it fun. But sometimes when I get frustrated and I've been punched around like a punching bag, then I do start driving to the standards of the people around me, specifically this Supra. So here I'm going to try to send it up around the outside in the Mini, which makes absolutely zero sense. There's not a world in which that would have worked. And now here I tap him on the back end, give him a nice bump, and, well, we're around him. I get a half-second penalty for it, but we're around him. That's all that matters. In total, we've got a second and a half in penalties. He's got 2 3/4 worth of penalties. So I'm not too worried about him beating us out, but I am worried about him coming in for a late hit. So taking a look behind me there, just in case he was coming in for a late hit on the quarterback. He didn't though. He might go full edge rusher on us through the final corner, but taking another look behind, he's not going to do it. And we're going to finish in the incredible, the coveted 7th place position. In my opinion, it's the best position on the track. Let's move on. I hated that race. And we're off the launch pad at Spa. All engines are go. Colombian Bam Bam in the fuel tank, ready to go. I gotta stop saying that. But we overtake the Porsche, and into turn one. This is on me. I went in a bit hot there, and I got spun by the Ford GT, or at least spun myself using the Ford GT as the weapon, and unfortunately slowed down that NSX. But I had an absolute James Bond moment there, going between a couple of cars, rejoining the track. It felt good. It felt good. Now, Eau Rouge poses a very interesting threat, considering the Mini does not like to rotate into corners, so we're going to go through here nice and gingerly, and then the Porsche spun and we helped them around. That's classic through Eau Rouge, and then we'll get right past the R8 that's committed murder on that Porsche. Then coming out of Malmedy and around the carousel, I'd catch back up to the group, a couple guys ahead making contact, which is good news for me. That's helping me stay with the pack around all these corners, which again is just not the place you want to be in a Mini Cooper with over 600 horsepower and a tire on top of it. And I'm definitely wishing for a bit more handling coming through Pouon here. The double gauche, not treating the Mini all that well. Basically waiting an eternity to get back onto the power as I coast through there. And the guys behind seem to be getting a little restless with how long it is taking me to go through these corners. We'll get a couple more taps, and the last one would unsettle the car enough that I've gone fishing, trying to get control of the car once again. I got a little frustrated there, as you can see, just running straight into the back of this guy. We've finally reached the promised land, though. We're on the straight. That means overtakes. First of which will be KWR Racing here. He'll move over to the right side. I'll take the left route. And now it's the Porsche's turn. Doesn't look like I'll have the opportunity to go for the move before Blanchimont. So once we're through there, get the car straightened out, back on the power. That Porsche is pretty much gone. And now there's a BMW right in front. We'll come on through the chicane nice and slow, but get that car pointed out and back on the gas, make quick work of the BMW, and the Porsche is back in front. Break in just where that red flag comes off the barrier on the left side. Seems to be a pretty good spot for the Mini. I think normally you'd brake a bit later than that, but again, the brakes not really up to par in this thing. They could be a little better. Our second test of Eau Rouge coming up. Again, taking this nice and slow. The last thing I need is another penalty. We've got a ton of smoke going up. Can't see a fucking thing. Somehow the Porsche gets back up in front. Actually, I know how it got back up in front. The handling is nuts on it. And we've gone right up the middle of the Porsche and whatever that other car was, making an Oreo out of it. We're the cream filling. And this guy just pushed me wide. Absolutely disrespectful. Mother didn't teach him manners. I would teach him some, but I'm a Mini Cooper in a battle with McLaren right now, so there's a few other things on my mind that seem a little more important right now. Luckily, we keep the McLaren behind, at least for now, but look at him just come flying up the inside. The handling advantage couldn't be more clear right there, able to carry so much more speed through the double gauche. And the third and final time through Eau Rouge. It'll be a sight for sore eyes. Pretty darn clean this time around. The GT drifted a bit wide, but no crashes. That's really all you can ask for. So maybe things are looking up. But things would go downhill. So into the carousel, I go deep, lose a couple of tenths for sure, come immediately back onto the track, and the game thought that that was on par with third-degree murder, and gave me 1.6 seconds in penalties. I mean, I'd lost a few tenths from doing that anyway, so I don't really think there's a point in giving me a penalty for that. I already took it on the chin. And I'll take this one on the chin too. I went deep into the final chicane, and then out of nowhere comes a Mercedes, and I'm ready to go to battle. No way this guy is finishing ahead of me after nearly taking me out twice. I'd end up adding a couple of seconds in penalties onto that ending, but I will take it. We finished ahead. We gained 13 spots, which is pretty cool for a Mini, and that's where we'll end the video. So my recommendation will be, if you care about your driver and safety ratings, probably don't choose the Mini. Maybe stay away, very far away. But if you like having fun and just want to drive a crazy fucking car, then the Mini is for you. go ahead and give it a try. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. I hope you have a very happy new year. If I don't talk to you until then, do all the stuff the YouTubers tell you to do at the ends of videos, and I will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty, bye everybody.